Another exciting weekend is upon us with lots of action yet to witness. And today we have a whole lot to talk about on Talk Sports today, as we bring you lots of gist, lots and lots of gist. Yesterday, international friendlies that was played between Russia and the Super Eagles of Nigeria. We saw the clinch, and then we saw a little bit of error from Sami Ajayi that led to an on goal, and then the highest goal scorer at the Belgian league, talking about Toby Arokodare, came in from behind in the 71 minutes to level the score, meaning in the long run, just for jokes, Nigeria scored the both goals. So yes, Russia didn't get to score any goal. It was just an error that happened with Sami Ajayi. But the Super Eagles and Russia leveled yesterday at 1-1. Then on the other hand, the National Olympic Committee here in Nigeria are getting themselves ready ahead of this year's Olympic Day celebration, which will be coming up later in the month. And then the NBA playoffs is ongoing, where Indiana Pacers takes on the lead on game 1. And also we saw a little bit later tomorrow, we'll be seeing the final of the Nations League, which will be played between Spain and Portugal. That would be a very interesting matchup of games that will be played. And then later today still, we'll be witnessing where the Rivers Hoopers is talking about the BAL competition, which has entered their playoffs, will be taking on Al Ittihad later today in the BAL Basketball African League playoffs that will be kickstarting later tonight at 7 p.m. Also, Toby Amoson is set to embark on the 100 meters sprint race, which is not usually her kind of race. She usually does the 100 meters hurdle, but this time around she's going flat, so on the normal 100 meters. So we'll see how she's going to excel, because she has, in her way, it seems she has conquered the 100 meters hurdle. Now she's embrace and open for new challenges. We'll have all of those conversations and more. So now we'll be starting from the home front as always, as the National Olympic Committee leads Olympic Day celebration across Nigeria. The Nigerian Olympic Committee will lead the national celebration of Olympic Day on Saturday, June the 28th, across various states, as the country joins the global movement to commemorate the founding of modern Olympic movement. This year's event, organized in collaboration with Nigerians Sport for All Commission, is set to feature a wide range of activities encouraging Nigerians of all ages and abilities to embrace physical fitness and the Olympic values of excellence, friendship, and respect. Olympic Day is observed annually to mark the establishment of the modern Olympic movement by French nobleman Pierre de Coubertin in 1894. The day offers an opportunity for people to experience the spirit of the game within their communities, with a focus on participation rather than competition. So looking at all of this now, you are preparing weeks before. The Nigerian Olympic Committee are preparing for the celebration weeks before, but when it draws closer for athletes to go and represent in the Olympics, it's always, the preparation don't start early, which is very, very uncalled for. But if this same energy will be put into the life of all of these athletes that go and represent Nigeria in world stages, I think we will be having different results in Olympics. So yes, we have people who have broken records and set records in the Olympic, but the last Olympics, Paris 2024, wasn't something to write home about, because of the way athletes, get treated, even to the extent that our cycler had to borrow a bicycle from the German to, participate in the sport. So automatically he has lost mentally. So all of these things need to be looked into. The same energy put in celebration should also be put into preparation for these athletes when it's time to go for all of these sports. But still, the message here is for Nigerians to get themselves involved in physical fitness. Those able to do that should get themselves involved, and also maintain the level of friendship, and instead of competitiveness. So that's just the message from Nigerian Olympic Committee as they get themselves ready to celebrate the worldwide festival. So moving away from that, let's talk athletics as Tobi Amosun now drops hurdle race 100 meters flat in Jamaica. World record holder in the 100 meters hurdles, Tobi Amosun, will not compete in her trademark event at the Racers Grand Prix in Kingston, Jamaica on Saturday, which is happening today. A little bit later, all of these activities will be coming up from 5 p.m. Nigerian time as she lines up instead for the 100-meter A final. The 27-year-old Nigerian will be up against strong field that includes Jamaicans Tia and Tiana Carlton, Kimber Nelson, Ashanti Moore, and Allen Reid, alongside Americans Mikiana Bricksco and Joksko Scares in what is promising to be a highly competitive sprint battle as the National Stadium. Originally listed to compete in the women's 100B final, Amosun was later moved into the Elite A final, dubbed Championship, sponsored by KFC. She heads into the race with a season's best of 11.28 second record at the Velocity Feast in Fit 16 in Kingston in the month of March, where she won her heat in 11.41 seconds before clocking the fastest time in the finals. That performance marks her first 100-meter flat race of her career, and she nailed it. She smoked it. Like they say, she took off the jet. That's what they say in track field, that Amosun took off the jet. So let's see what happens later now. With all of these ladies in a pack that she'll be going ahead against, will she be able to do it? Because these guys are familiar to her. You know, they ran the 100 meters hurdle before, and also when that happened, she defeated and set a world record. Now let's see what will happen if she would be able to do the same in this elite class of A finalists that will be taking on the 100 meters hurdle. We'll be going on a quick break, and then when we return back, we'll be having more conversations around Nigerians who are Tokyo 2025. We'll have that conversation and more immediately after this break. Many thanks for staying with us on a fun-filled Saturday of sport activities. Now, Nigerians set their eye on the podium return as, World Athletics Federation unveils Tokyo 2025 medal. Nigerians are not new to standing on the podium and taking gold medals, actually, to be specified, gold medals. If you look and go ahead and look at the track records. So World Athletic has unveiled the official medals for the 2025 World Athletic Championship, which will take place from September the 13th to the 21st at the National Stadium in Tokyo. The medals, which will be awarded to athletes at the championship, were crafted with input from Japanese student athletes and design experts. According to governing body, each medal features sweeping stripes inspired by the official event logo with Tokyo City Code TYO, styled as a running track, symbolizing momentum and global connection through the sporting activity. President of the local organizing committee, Mustishgi Otaga described the design as a symbol of unity, sustainability, and ambition ahead of the global competition. So looking at this, Nigerians have actually represented in this prestigious competition over time and time again, and we've seen amazing results. So good looking out for Tokyo. But something that struck me here now is a student designed all of this, who was actually supervised by an expert. But still, what is happening in our educational system? Why can't we even have sporting activities like this always coming back to Africa, coming back to Nigeria to host all of this? What is Nigerian not doing properly? What is the NFF not doing properly? What is the Athletic Federation of Nigeria not doing properly to be drawing competitions like this? Now, questions are being asked, eyebrows are being taken up to wonder why all of these things are not happening in Nigeria. We are seeing Morocco now almost 55% of the competitions ongoing and qualifying matches that will be played for World Cup and other competitions is being taken to Rabat, Morocco, for a reason. Egypt just concluded the Under-20 African Cup of All Nations, and they hosted at 9 minutes after Ivory Coast disappointed. So what is actually happening while Nigeria is not getting to host most of all of this? I think questions will be asked. Maintenance culture is something really, really big, and that's a very big challenge that the Sporting Commission is actually facing currently in Nigeria. So I think all of those angles now need to be taken care of if we want to elevate our sporting activities. So looking at all of these angles now, I think we'll still have more conversation on how Nigerians will be able to be participating, or competitions like this will be bring back home, so as a rekindled fire will be lit up in the heart of Nigerians and the sportsmen and women in different categories to do more and win medals, because one, you're having this done in your hometown, and you would definitely want to pull up and show up and show walkings, like they say, show walkings and be amazing with what you're doing. So let's see how well the Sports Commission of Nigeria would look into all of these angles and make sure that a few of these competition, at least qualifiers, should be played in Nigeria. We have the facilities, and just maintenance is just one of the major concerns. So looking at athletes now that will be getting themselves ready, we saw what happened at the just concluded National Sport Festival at Abeokuta, Ogun State, where Team Delta emerged champions. They defended their championship again, because last year they won, and then this year they won again, so they defended it. So in the next couple of weeks, we'll be seeing the Coal City Festival, Sport Festival, coming up, which has also been promised to be exceptional and higher, according to the sports commissioner of Enugu State. He said he took a few cues from what happened at Ogun State, but he promises to raise the bar high, which is a normal standard for every Nigerian. You are meant to raise the bar high. So let's see how all of this turns out. And for athletes that will be going to represent in Tokyo, we are hoping and wishing you all well. That's come September, and start getting yourselves ready. Get to the gym and put up a amazing work. So let's move on and let's talk about the friendlies that were played a couple of hours ago between the Super Eagles of Nigeria and Russians. Aroko Dari scores as Super Eagles hold Russia to 1-1 draw. Looking at this now from this angle, Russia and Nigeria settled for a 1-1 draw in their international friendly clash. This happened obviously yesterday, with both sides sharing the spoil in a game marked by momentum of intensity and resilience. Russia took the lead in the 27 minutes after Nigerian defender Sami Ajayi inadvertently put the ball behind his own net. The Super Eagles responded in the second half through Tolu Aroko Dari, who netted the equalizer in the 71st minute to restore pretty for Nigeria. Despite being outplayed in the possession, with Russians holding 58% of the ball to Nigerians 42%, the Super Eagles showed domination and made the most of their opportunities. Nigeria managed 6 shots and 4 on target compared to Russians' 10 shots, with only 2 testing the goalkeeper. Russia completed 487 passes with an 87% accuracy rate, while Nigeria managed 367 passes at 81% rates. The European side committed 16 fouls and received 3 yellow cards, while Nigerians had 11 fouls and 1 booking. Okay, let's look at it from this angle. Russia, okay, fine, they play football, but Super Eagles, Nigeria is known for football more than Russia. Let's go back to history. If you want to go back to history, the numbers are there. The Super Eagles of Nigeria have represented more in the World Cup and have won, its domestic championship more than Russia. So looking at this now, I'm not happy with the results. That is the bottom line of this conversation. I'm not happy with the results. Fine. Okay, let's give the benefit of the doubt. Okay, Unity Cup just happened. Nigeria played 2 games and then they struggled with Jamaica, but still had the last laugh at the penalty shootouts when they emerged and defended the trophy, which they won far back in 2004. Okay, now let's look at it from this other angle now. A couple of players were not around. Victor Boniface, Victor Osimhen, Ademola Lookman, Olaina, and the rest of them were not around. Fine. Now having these individuals around doesn't mean that, okay, the coach is not going to try something else new. Now he's trying a couple of new things, which is working actually, but I expected more. Personally, I expected more from the squad of the Super Eagles. Now, in total, we've seen Eric Chelle played 5 games, and then we have a trophy to 1, and then we lost a couple, and then had a draw. So looking at it now, I think there is still more that would be done. Looking at the current squad, we have a whole lot of home-based players, and we have a couple of players who are actually doing well in their respective club in Europe. So now this mix and this whole plan cook-up show that Eric is having is actually, in the long run, is looking good, but we need to find this and make this correct, have it right, because you can't be having Russia outplay the Super Eagles when you'll be drawn up on team God knows what when we get to qualify for the World Cup. So it's a lot. So if we can't even have more possession than the Russians this time, then what would happen if the Super Eagles are placed on the same group with maybe a country like Spain or France or Costa Rica or even Brazil? So what would then happen? Then it's going to be a different ball game. But still, I know we are going to have a different squad of guys playing that match, but still, the second 11, the second bit should be as good as the first. That's my message. Looking at it from this angle now, just like Man City, just like Barcelona, if you're taking out the whole squad and bringing more, you will see the same level. Though experience might not be there, but you will see the same level of performance. So that's actually what I'm saying. So Mr. Eric, the head coach of the Super Eagles, look into it more and then see how, what strategies will be introduced into the squad that will help the Super Eagles of Nigeria, one, very key and very important, qualify for the 2026 World Cup that will be played in the US, Canada, and Mexico, and also advancing further, not just qualifying this time. At least, come on, you can beat the group stage and advance to the quarterfinals, and then lugger it out with any team or any country that will be facing at that point. So moving away from the international friendlies, now another shocking news. That's one thing with sports. We get all the chills, we get all the drills, like all of the emotions are packed in one, in a simple word, sports. Now, this individual was threatened, and then he made a comment at the beginning of the season. He said in his second year, he always wins something. Well, he came into Tottenham at the summer of 2023, and then they struggled throughout the 2023-2024 season. Then at the end of the season, he says, that's talking about the 2023-2024 season, he says, I always win something in my second year. We now said, okay, no one. Let's see what would happen for 2024-2025 season. 2024-2025 season, after decades, he managed to win the European title ahead against Manchester United. Automatically, they've advanced into the Champions League. But now, this is what's shocking. Tottenham sacks Ange Postecoglou despite European League triumph. Now, this is the shocking part. Why did you fire him? Because I think he's from the way he played in the final, despite injury worries and not having a couple of his big names on the squad, he was able to manage and defeat Manchester United, though Manchester United have their own problems. So we are not going to say, yeah, you defeated like a Manchester City. Though Manchester City say have problems, but Crystal Palace showed up and defeated them in the FA Cup. So looking at these angles now, right? He says he always wins trophies in his second year, which he did, right? But for Tottenham Hotspur, firing Ange Gello, it's actually something very shocking. Now, let me bring you up to date with this report where Tottenham Hotspur have announced the departure of the head coach, Ange, despite his recent European win with the side. The decision comes following an internal review of performance and what the club described as significant reflection. Ange, who arrived from Celta in the summer of 2023, leaves after 2 seasons in charge. His tenure was marked by a return to the club's trademark attacking football, culminated in a historic UEFA European League triumph last month in Bilbao, Tottenham's first European silver since the year 1984. That was the last time they won a trophy. That's talking about the UEFA Cup. Now this man came and then introduced his attacking football, and then he panned out well, and then they won out a trophy. So now I think what's the next phase would have been for the management of Tottenham and for him, Ange, is to get more players, sell some, buy some, and then rebuild the team to contend properly in the UEFA Champions League. That's what I think the game plan should be for him. But now, what do I know? The management know better, since they tagged it as significant reflection. So who would be the coach now that will be introduced to Tottenham Hotspur? They've not released any comments in that light. Talking about coaches, one is being fired, one is leaving at his own will. Roma now unveils Gasperini, that's talking about the former coach of Atalanta, as the new coach of Roma, which is shocking as well. Gasperini was unveiled as the new coach of Italian side Roma last night after 9 hugely successful years at the helm of Atalanta. Gasperini, who is 67 years of age, joins Roma on a 3-year deal after turning Atalanta into one of the Italians' best team. Winning the European League last year, Gasperini said he chose Roma over Juventus because he believed they had everything in place to grow. The club convinced me, in his words, the club convinced me because it is a great challenge. I need to have a big challenge and to come to an environment with great passion, he says. So now, he actually came, this was the same speech, but a couple of words were changed. This was the same, almost the same speech he gave when he came 9 years ago when he came to Atlanta, because we all know how Atlanta were battling both in their domestic league, in the UEFA Champions League, whenever they tried to qualify. So it has been a problem for them until the introduction of Ademola Lookman and a couple of big names also on the squad with Gasperini. They found their way to build, and you know, Atlanta became what it is today. So looking at it from those angles now, they were very great this previous season. You know, Ademola Lookman helping them in the 2023-2024 season to win the European League after he broke and set a record of having a hat-trick ever in a European League final. So now we saw the fallout that they did have, you know, during the Champions League, where Ademola Lookman couldn't convert from the penalty spot where his team needed him the most, and then they all crashed out from the UEFA Champions League. It happens in football. Messi, Ronaldo, all them big names do miss penalties. Even if you go back to history, Cristiano, Ronaldinho, Ronaldo, Adriano, all of those names, they do miss penalties. So looking at this now, moving to Roma. Roma hadn't been in the UEFA Champions League. The last time they were at the UEFA Champions League was in the year 2018. Now, he talked about challenges, he talked about new big challenges and new environment. I feel that's the reason why he took out the job, because he feels the Italian team Roma is an underdog and he wants to prove a point. He has 3 years now to do that. That's if he doesn't get fired before then, because this is business, and the Italians, they are not so loyal, and just like us now, keeping a coach who always comes very close to winning a trophy and not winning it. So Italians will just fire you straight up. So let's see how well, and then wish him well with the new challenge that he had decided to take on. So moving away from the world of football totally, my beloved basketball players, talking about Rivers Hoopers, unveils their squad, and they are set for Bow Showdown, which will be taking place later today. Can I hear a drum roll, please? So moving on, Nigeria's sole representative in the 5th season of the Basketball African League, Rivers Hoopers, have unveiled their roster for the final, currently ongoing in the Sunbet Arena in Pretoria, South Africa. We would have more around this conversation, but there's this highlight between Rivers Hoopers and Al Ittihad that was played during the Conference League before in April. So we'll be taking a quick look at those highlights, and then afterwards we would have a conversation around what is expected and what they can do different to, play their game later today.